Mm-hmm.
Oh crap, where's my phone?
Oh, it's in that other room. I saw it on the floor. Sorry.
All right. Get this up. Where since having a kid, I don't have any clean shirts anymore.
Yeah. Why would you?
It's just gunk.
Claiming all these rewards.
Yeah, I want to try something while we have just a sec. I want to see if I can just post the. Ooh, the
Should I
music's
do the
cool.
further one? Yeah, probably. So I don't save over it. Oh, that one says 40 though. I wonder what that means. Is that March 27th? Yeah. Oh, I bet it's Dylan and Danny. Okay, I'll play Dylan's. Okay, should I start off?
Yeah, I you should start it off. We got like a few viewers on here already. I was just seeing if I could post the live feed to our Facebook group. I've never tried that before.
Oh, okay. That'd be cool.
All
All right. Yeah, so welcome to our podcast, the Super Davies Bros podcast. This is our is this our 25th?
24th.
24th episode. And we are going through the Harry Potter movies, and we luckily, thanks to Dylan, who's been on our podcast before, last minute so graciously let me borrow his PlayStation.
And it was a bit of a scramble.
It was a scramble, but he let me borrow it so we could play Hogwarts Legacy. And we're super stoked. Now, neither of us have played this game, and it's already like through the tutorials and stuff. So we're just going to do our best.
Just gonna mess around
and see how it is. And if we suck, we suck, but we suck at the other games we've played too. So it doesn't really matter, right?
Agreed.
Yeah. So welcome, and let's see what this game's all about, dude. I'm pretty pumped about this game.
Yeah, this is a game I really want to get into. I've never played it, and we try to have. I mean, we call them experts, but every subject we try to have somebody on here that kind of knows their way around whatever topic that we're discussing. And for this episode, I don't call myself an expert, but I would say to most normal muggles, I'm pretty much an expert when it comes to the Harry Potter franchise. I've read all the books 3 or 4 times, watched all the movies way too many times to count. Big Harry Potter fan. So I am going to consider myself I feel like the first time, 24 episodes, I feel like I can reasonably say I know a lot about Harry Potter.
I cannot.
But you've watched all the movies.
I've watched all of them. I didn't get through all of them this week, but I have seen all of them, and they are so good.
They're fantastic. And I don't think you necessarily need to read the books to enjoy the movies. I do think if you've read the books, it does bring an added element to the movies. I think it makes it easier to watch the movies because you know the plot so well, and there's a little bit more backstory in the books, so it's easier to follow. I think some of the later movies struggle a little bit to explain what's going on, like the depths of the relationship between Voldemort and Harry, and some of that like deep doctrine when it comes to the Potter world.
That's fair. I mean, it'd be cool to read the books. I'm trying to convince my daughters to get more into reading so we can start. And
You should borrow my picture book. I have the Harry Potter Sorcerer's Stone or Philosopher's Stone, depending on which side of the pond you're on. I have like the artwork book. It has the whole book in there, but it has like cool pictures throughout it. The whole book, it's like a bigger book. You could read it to them at night. You should borrow it.
that would be cool. Yeah, I will.
Our cousin Emily gave it to me.
Real quick, Matt.
Oh,
Sorry. Dad says audio keeps breaking up.
It might just be the
Could
stream.
be a connection.
Yeah.
Stream error.
Are there other people on there that are having the same issue?
Yeah, let us know if it's still doing it.
Or if other people notice, I can log off and re-log in, and we can see if that helps. But
Yeah. All right.
on our end, we're good. All the audio aspect all seems to be working. But
yeah.
So it might just be your connection, Dad. I'm not sure, but if we hear from another person, maybe we'll consider.
He said glitching on Twitch. So
Okay.
it
Not
could be
YouTube.
if you're
If it's not glitching on YouTube, then
if you're over at my house, you might be connecting between the two internets because our houses are so close, and it's probably struggling.
Anyway, so
But I mean,
what I was
resolving.
what I was gonna say about this game when I was saying I was kind of a Potterhead is, I've been like watching, ever since the first trailer came out. I've been watching like different test runs and stuff of this game. I really want to play this game. I really want to get into it. The only negative things I've heard about it is it just takes a while. You have to really dedicate yourself and your time to the game to get used to it. As for the viewers, they'll probably notice that as we play. But the music's really cool. It's really good.
Yeah.
Which
like
is
it.
one of the best things about Harry Potter is John Williams' score is just phenomenal. So anyway,
That's who does it. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah,
What else does John Williams do?
the one that what I think would give you the closest, like, oh yeah, that does sound like him, is like Home Alone. So
Oh, okay.
you know that kind of theme music of Home Alone. It sounds
Definitely.
another one that you might know. Well, he's done between him and what's the other main dude? Hans Zimmer. They kind of like rule the score world of the movies. But he also does the other one that I think sounds a lot like Harry Potter is the movie Hook.
Yeah.
So whenever I think that's why Harry Potter sometimes reminds me of Christmas too, is because like the theme music sounds very Home Alone-esque. I feel like it's like could pan in on that home of the beginning of the movie where it's like they zoom into Macaulay Culkin, whatever the name of that family is, home, and that music's playing. It kind of sounds like Harry Potter to me.
Yeah, I can see that.
Anyway, but if you haven't guessed it or you haven't read the title of this episode, we're talking all things Harry Potter today. And this is an episode that I have been looking forward to for quite a long time. My wife was going to come on. She's feeling a little under the weather today, kind of a little tired, so she decided not to come on the podcast. But we're going to go over just the movies, what we think of them. We're going to kind of rank them as our favorites, maybe talk about the books, things we like, characters we like. And those on the chat, please chime in at any time, and we'll be sure to read those comments. You struggling to get that key in the door?
I guess. This is hard.
Jordan's trying to, there's a key fairy, like a winged key, like in the first movie, and he's trying to get the key to go in the hole, and he's not having a very successful go.
I think it's because of this like glitch, like time delay Yeah, it's
Yeah, you blame
totally
it on
that.
the delay a lot. I think you can even go outside the castle too, dude. I think you can like roam the whole grounds, and you can go to Hogsmeade and everything. I think on here. Not
Wait, what's Hogsmeade?
Well, Hogsmeade is one of the areas in the. It's a small town outside of Hogwarts. It's the closest wizarding town to Hogwarts. It's where they go to buy their like butterbeer, like the scenes where they're in their butterbeer stuff, and they get to go. I think it's in the third. Yeah, the third movie is when, which would be the third year of the Hogwarts students. They get to go to Hogsmeade, where they can spend money and hang out around there.
Oh, okay.
Does that sound familiar?
Yep, it does. Yeah.
So, anyway, let's get started. Let's talk about the poll. First, we'll go over our last week's draft and who won that. And I think we didn't go over the one prior to that too. I don't know if we did or not. Yeah, we did. It was the cereal one. We talked about the winner on that. So from last week, from the Fast and Furious poll, we had 3 teams. We had Fasterist, Foreverist, which we won't go over all the teams. Listen to the episode if you want to know all the characters, because I feel like we're going to have a lot to talk about with Harry Potter. We had a Ejectocito, and then transition to Spanish rap songs and bass. So those were the 3 teams. And the winner, with 60% of the votes, and there were not a lot of votes, but 60% of the votes, because it just went up yesterday.
Doesn't matter how many votes.
Was Jordan, Ejectocito.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
So Jordan won the poll. As far as this week, we put up a poll. Not a ton of votes for the Harry Potter. I thought there'd be a lot more. I thought there'd be some more debate about, or at least a lot more votes for people's favorite Harry Potter
prematurely
movies.
voted. I think my favorites have changed a little bit.
Oh, well, we can talk about it.
Yeah.
So for those of you that have no idea what's going on or aren't Harry Potter fans and you're just enjoy the sound of our voices, we appreciate you listening. We're going to go over all the Harry Potter movies right now. So we have the Sorcerer's Stone. Fun fact, it was originally called the Philosopher's Stone. I think it's still called the Philosopher's Stone in the UK. And they dub in Philosopher versus Sorcerer on each of the movies. So, fun fact, the original book was called The Philosopher's Stone, and when they did the prints for America, they thought Sorcerer would be better for marketing in America. Then we have The Chamber of Secrets, The Prisoner of Azkaban, The Goblet of Fire, The Order of the Phoenix, The Half-Blood Prince, Deathly Hallows Part 1, and Deathly Hallows Part 2. So, Jordan, got the votes here. Let me pull them up to see who the winner is. I think we might have a tie for first place.
Dylan said, that character looks familiar.
Is that supposed to be Dylan? Is he kind of
This is his character.
made his character?
Well, I didn't make like a new one. Yeah, this is his.
Okay, cool. Well, I'm just saying, is that supposed to look like Dylan?
I don't know.
And it's kind of dark.
Dylan, it looks just like you. I probably could have adjusted those, but I didn't do any settings adjusted given our time frame.
Yeah, I get it.
Okay.
Okay.
It's not too dark. Oh,
So
no,
I meant
he
more
said no,
for-
Danny's character.
Oh, Danny's character. Okay. All right. So there's a tie for second place, a tie for first place, and there is a third place. So do you want to guess what movie came in third according to our poll? I'm actually surprised this came in third, but you want to guess what came in third? Keep in mind, 2 and 1 were ties. So we're going to be talking about 5 movies. So this would technically be number 5 in favorites. Because number 2 is there's 2 movies that tied, and number 1 there's 2 movies that tied.
Oh, okay. Then I'm gonna go with The Chamber of Secrets.
Chamber of Secrets is a good guess. It was not third. So it is Deathly Hallows Part 1, which I don't know if we should jump ahead already, but I think that's my least favorite movie. That is the one where they're and I should say...
Wait, which one? The Deathly Hallows?
Deathly Hallows
Yeah.
Part 1.
Okay.
And I should say, I'm a huge Potterhead, and I love all the movies. So because I'm saying it's my least favorite,
So you just hate them all?
it's my favorite movie. It's my least favorite of my favorite movies, because like Harry Potter movies are like my favorite movies. But that is the one where Ron and Hermione and Harry, the bulk of it is they start out at the wedding, and then they're traveling to try and find the Horcruxes. And it has that awkward dance scene with Hermione and Harry.
Yeah.
That one, it's a little weird. And spoilers, it's been like 25 years, guys, so I don't feel like spoilers. A particular house elf passes away in that one, and that is just heart-wrenching. But it could be Creature. Who knows? Okay, next one, tied for second.
I think everybody and their dog's seen this by now, and if you haven't, deal with the spoilers regardless.
Well, I'm surprised you're listening to a Harry Potter podcast.
Yeah.
If you haven't. And if you haven't, thank you, because that means you really are a fan of the Super Davies Bros, so appreciate it. Number 2, you want to guess?
I'm gonna
You have a good chance.
guess-
There's 2 of them, so you have a good chance of hitting one of them. I'll give you a hint.
Number
One of them we have talked about before on this podcast, fairly recently.
Prisoner of Azkaban.
Yes, Prisoner of Azkaban is tied with the Order of the Phoenix, which is, they're all great. Order of the Phoenix is definitely one of my favorites for sure. And the number 1, it actually was tied. I'm so surprised. Oh my gosh, I messed up. It's not tied. No, it is tied. It is tied. Okay.
Okay.
like,
Now you're just confusing everybody.
But I made a mistake. So the Prisoner of Azkaban and the Order of the Phoenix were tied for 3rd. Sorry. So there's a different second place. I missed. So second place is actually Deathly Hallows Part 2. So the very last movie is second place. And then there's a tie for first. All right.
Okay.
Guess the tie for first.
Sorcerer's Stone.
Of course, Sorcerer's Stone.
And is it the second one? What's the second one?
Second one is the Chamber of Secrets, but it's not the second one.
Oh, no. That's right. So it'd be the 6th one?
No.
The 5th one?
No, that's Order of Phoenix.
4th one?
There you go. The Goblet of Fire. I'm surprised you can get that one. The Goblet of Fire.
My bad. Which was really good. I like that one a lot.
People seem to either like love that one or hate that one. And I'll get into my opinions on it later. But I love all of them. But love it more or less. Anyway, so thank you all who voted. Again, I'll go over the 3, 2, 1 because I feel like I confused everybody. So technically in 3rd place was Prisoner of Azkaban and Order of Phoenix. Second place was Deathly Hallows Part 2. And first place was the Sorcerer's Stone and Goblet of Fire.
Okay.
So with that, before we dive into these movies, I asked Jordan to get onto Pottermore. I have been on Pottermore for years.
Ooh, yeah.
Did you get onto Pottermore, Jordan? And for those of you that don't know what Pottermore is, it's where you can get more of Harry Potter. But it's where you can actually be sorted into your house. And you can find what your Patronus animal would be and all that stuff. And I thought it'd be kind of fun to share what our houses are. And then maybe we share what Pottermore said our houses are, and then maybe what we actually feel we would have chose. Because the sorting hat does take your opinion into consideration. We've learned that from the movies and books.
That's true, huh? Please not Slytherin. Please not Slytherin.
Exactly.
Not Slytherin, you say?
That's pretty good.
Thanks.
You would do well in Slytherin. Yes, see. It sounds like the Muppets one. Oil here, you see. Yeah. Is that how he really sounded? Well,
Which
I don't
Muppet?
know. Maybe that's in my
Which
head.
Muppet?
The Muppets, the one that came out a few years ago with Jason
Out of the
Segel.
closet, or?
Out of what?
Oh, sorry.
Um,
I do
There's
actually.
oil buried here, you see. Sweet, sweet oil. Did he really sound like that? I don't know. Maybe he just sounded like that in my head, but still.
I feel like I know which one you're talking about, but
It's
I
the one
can't
with Jason
picture it.
Segel. It's the one, Am I a man or am I a Muppet?
He says that too in that voice or whatever. I don't know. This is too hard.
What do you mean it's too hard? There's
I'm
a scene where the Muppet that is the man or Muppet, Walter,
Yes.
he is at Kermit the Frog's old house he's doing the tour of the Muppets Museum tour.
Okay.
And then the bad guys walk in and say they're buying the Muppets studio to turn it into a museum.
Oh, that's right.
but
He's the
then
one
they
that
lie.
says maniacal laugh. Maniacal laugh. That
Yeah,
one?
that's the character.
He's-
And then Walter's explaining what happens to Mary and I can't remember the name of the other lead. Jason Segel's character.
Kermit.
No,
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
not Kermit. And he's like, this is so pointless now, but he's like, what did he say? And he's like, they're going to turn it into oil, they said, you see, sweet, sweet oil. And he's like, did they really
I
sound
do
like that?
remember
He's like,
that.
oh,
I do
maybe that's
remember
just how
that.
they sounded in my head.
I remember it, and you do sound similar to it, I think. Good job.
Thank you. Oh,
That
look,
was a
you're
long
gonna be on
roundabout. I know,
you're gonna
this
be on
is
a
all I
broom.
wanted to do, so.
Jordan's getting on a broom. He's going to learn Quidditch. Anyway, Jord, what was your Pottermore? What
It
house did it sort you in?
sorted me into Gryffindor.
Gryffindor. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I think I do, but it doesn't talk about Ravenclaw a lot, but I like Ravenclaw. It sounds like a cool
okay.
one. But I don't know enough about him to be like, I would choose Ravenclaw because I'm this kind of person.
They're kind of the smart ones, so I don't think you fit in. I saw you more as a Hufflepuff.
then?
I saw you more of a Hufflepuff. Just kidding.
Oh.
Gryffindor. I can see Gryffindor. That's a good sort.
Yeah, I thought it was good. I liked it.
What was your
It
Patronus?
said, Expecto Patronus. Where is it? I'm sorry.
It's
It
okay.
said, is it this thing?
It's like your animal. Here, you play that.
This is just a picture of it. Let me go back to the website then.
Oh yeah, you probably need to go to the website. It'll show you on the website.
You play that for just a second.
Okay.
Oh, press R. That's this thumb.
Up.
Up.
I just got my broom.
Up.
I did it. Up, 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 up.
The
What do
sorting hat has spoken, and you're not alone.
Yeah, here, you do that. I'll look through it. while
Okay,
you're-
here's this.
Okay, so Jordan was sorted in at Hogwarts. To Gryffindor. Welcome to Gryffindor. Oh, you just did that update, huh?
Oh, cool.
Okay, you haven't done it yet, so we're gonna do it real quick.
All
On
right.
here, we're gonna
Ooh,
find out
we
what
get to do
Jordan's
it
Patronus is.
live.
Yes. Okay. Discover your Patronus. Begin. Okay. Here we go, Jordan. Pick one: sun, wind, or rain.
Let's do
Come on,
Sun?
instinct. You gotta go quick. Okay. Protect, seek, or serve. Quick.
protect.
Quick. Okay, you gotta be quick. Okay. Smooth or rough.
Rough. What are we talking
Okay.
about?
around, under, or over. Quick.
Around.
All right. You need to react more quickly, it says. Okay, so here we go again. Ready? Okay. Lead, escape, save.
Save.
All right, here we go. Why who?
Why?
Love, trust, hope. Quick.
Trust.
Okay, your Patronus is an Irish wolfhound. You're a dog.
That's dope.
That's a pretty cool Patronus.
Thanks. That's what exactly is the Patronus, man?
Okay, so the Patronus is a very powerful wizarding spell. That one of the most powerful spells you can have, and your Patronus is kind of like your inner spirit animal. And so people have different Patronuses, like Harry Potter has a stag, Hermione's an otter, and it's just an animal that
Harry Potter's a stag?
yeah,
What's the stag?
which is also his mother, like a deer.
Oh, that's right. That's the one where that's the Patronus spell, huh? Is
So
that what comes out with that
Expecto
like
Patronus?
Expecto Patronum?
Yeah,
That's why you see
the animal
deer,
comes out,
the
yeah.
elk or deer. Or
Yeah, and that's why in
stag.
the stag. That's why in one of the later movie, or no, I think it is Prisoner. Oh no, it's the third movie. Yeah, Prisoner of Azkaban. He sees a stag, and he thinks he's gonna see his dad, but it ends up being his himself with the time loop. And that stag was his Patronus charm he cast to get rid of the Dementors. So it's a really powerful spell that is created by something like a really, really powerful good thought.
Okay.
And Harry, being a really young wizard, it's surprising that he's able to produce that spell because it's a really difficult spell, but he's able to do it. So this is Everett Cockton. Okay, let's get back to the movies. All right, Jordan, why don't we talk about my house? I got sorted into. I actually don't agree with this one, but I was sorted into Ravenclaw. And my
real quick,
Yeah.
I just want to throw it out for our viewers. Hop on and go to it's pottermore.com, right?
Yep.
So pottermore.com, and you should do it. And if you're on here watching, you should
put in
message what
your houses
your houses are again.
and your Patronus.
And your Patronus. Yeah, that'd be cool.
That'd be way cool. Or
if you get a chance, if not, it's all good.
or if you're listening to the podcast, hop on the Facebook group and comment on the episode when we post it. What's your house is?
That would be cool.
So, I got sorted into Ravenclaw. I don't actually agree with that one. I actually think I would have been sorted into Slytherin, if I'm being completely honest. I just don't think they sort you into that.
I mean, a jerk.
Yeah.
Oh, canceled again.
I think I have a little bit of a bad boy persona that I'm also a coward. But or maybe Gryffindor. I could see I never saw myself as a Ravenclaw, but maybe I am. They're typically a little bit more like the more intelligent, brighter students.
Yeah. You already made the joke, but
and no, that's like what their house really is.
Right. Yeah, I was saying you already made the joke, so I'm not going to go, well, you shouldn't be there.
Oh, okay. I gotcha. Well, dude, you should just fly around. That's pretty sick. See if you can fly to, like, up and out of Hogwarts to see if you can, like, fly away from the castle.
I'm supposed to fly away with this person.
Oh, okay.
So I'm trying to
Working
follow
on it.
them.
Okay. And then my Patronus is a rabbit. So, same as Luna Lovegood.
Luna Lovegood. She's that blonde?
Yeah, she's the blonde one. She's kind of the weird, quirky
I
one.
like her.
I love her. Yeah, I think she's great.
She's awesome.
I tried to convince my wife to name my daughter Luna. Just because of Hogwarts. And she was actually not opposed to it, but then our neighbors down the street named their daughter Luna, and they were born 2 weeks apart. So we were like, maybe
you could do Lune A and Lune B. Lune B.
Lune A and Loomba. Loomba. Why'd you go with Loomba? Luna was taken.
Luna.
I mean, you could at least go like Luca. Luca is kind of a cool name. So.
Yeah, and you like that movie, right?
Yeah, I love that Pixar movie. Okay, so Jord, let's talk the movies. Let's start going through them and ranking them and talking about our favorite characters and what we liked. Were there any comments on here about? Has anyone posted their house yet? Okay,
no.
Takes a minute to go through the test, but Dad, if you're on Fasha, I'd love to know what you get. So, all right. So let's start with your least favorite movie and why, and then we'll talk about maybe our top 3 after that. Does that sound cool?
That's hard because I watch them and I don't like to say I have a least favorite because I do enjoy them all.
I agree. I think they're all good, but if there's one, you have all 8 of them, and there's you're like, I gotta watch these in the order of the one I want. I know it is hard, but is there one that like maybe you just weren't as, it's just not quite. It doesn't, quite have the magic or something like that with the movies.
I didn't get as into the second one.
Chamber of Secrets. Yeah.
I didn't get as into it, but I don't like saying that it's not like a good one. So because it was really good.
Why do you feel that way? That maybe you didn't get as into it?
I thought it was just kind of. I don't know. I didn't get too into like the whole like snake. Him fighting the snake. That's that one, right?
Yep, the basilisk.
And I thought, is that also the same one that Hermione turns into the cat?
Yep.
I was like, these are kind of
a little cheesy still.
Cheesy. Yeah, I didn't really.
You know what's funny about that is that's one of my wife's least favorite, because just as a child, she was a little younger when that one came out. And she went to see it, and that one's pretty scary to a younger kid.
Yeah.
You have like the snake in the walls going like kill, kill, right? And you have like these different people that are getting petrified, which you don't really understand what petrified is at the time. You're like, are people dying? Like the cat gets petrified. Oh man, what's the kid's name? The photographer kid. Oh, man.
I want to say Peter Pettigrew, but it's not. He's in the map on that one, right?
Yeah, Peter Pettigrew. Peter Pettigrew.
No, that's not that one either.
Yeah, his name is he is one of Harry Potter's dad's old friends that betrayed him. Wormtail.
But yeah. But that wasn't that movie either.
No, that wasn't.
Was it Tom Riddle in that one?
No, Tom Riddle is Voldemort as that's Voldemort's original name, he who must not be named. I think his name is I think it starts with a C. But anyways, the kid that takes the photographs that's obsessed with Harry Potter, he gets petrified in it. Hermione gets petrified in it. And you're like, man, this is kind of dark. Like people are like dying at the school. There's like Mudbloods is introduced, which is kind of a dark term, right? He spits up slugs out of his mouth, and like there's writing and like blood on the walls, like pretty aggressive. So, but I get that. That's why my wife doesn't like that one as much. So
that's fair.
My least favorite, I've already kind of said, is again, I love all of them, but it's Deathly Hallows Part 1. Just because it's a little slow. They just kind of are traveling a lot in there. There's a lot of weird dynamic between Harry and Hermione and Ron that
makes sense.
They really emphasize it in the movies, and it's in the books a little bit, but not quite as much as they emphasize in the movies. And I cannot get over the weirdness of the scene where Hermione and Harry are dancing in the tent all weird. And you're like, this is so awkward. So that's probably my least favorite. But I will say I do have a little bit of beef with Goblet of Fire, which I know is a lot of people's favorite. And I love Goblet of Fire, but here's my beef. I have two little things with Goblet of Fire. One, I think the whole thing feels like it was done with like a green screen on it. Like everything's just really green in that movie. There's not like the cinematography, I don't feel like as great. And then that book is actually my favorite Harry Potter book. Maybe. Actually, I think Half-Blood Prince is my favorite book. But Goblet of Fire is definitely up there. And there's so much to Goblet of Fire, and it really starts to get into depth into that universe, into that world. There's a lot of depth to the characters, a lot of depth to the plot and the story, that because they are just focusing on the Goblet of Fire, that's kind of all you see. And it's the first time in the movies where they start to they have to make cuts and changes to the movie in order to fit it in a time frame. And I think for the most part, they do a pretty good job with it. But in Goblet of Fire, I just started noticing it the most, and there was things where if you don't read the books, I feel like you lose it pretty quickly in those later movies, unless you're really paying attention or you watch the movies a couple times. You're kind of asking like, I mean, questions like, wait, who is Cornelius Fudge? Who is like, how does this relate to Professor Moody versus Professor Moody, Mad Eye Moody? How come he comes back? Like, there's just a lot of depth in the book that explains those characters, explains that development, and they just kind of brush over it real quick and they just kind of get to the point. So, that's one of my beasts with Goblet of Fire. But I do love that movie. It's not my least favorite, but
I also don't like the whole. I think the guy that turns into like the shark fish in it, like the shark in it.
Oh yeah,
like,
Crump.
Yeah.
You know what else is terrible about that movie? Is you have the Dumbledore switch. So the actor who played Dumbledore in the first two movies passes away. He comes on movie 3, does okay on movie 3, but in movie 4, his character deviates so much from what the character in the book is. Dumbledore's kind of a little bit more soft-spoken, kind of. He's a lot more like the first actor who portrayed Dumbledore, and you have the iconic line in Goblet of Fire that's like, "Harry Potter, did you put your name into the Goblet of Fire?" It's like, and he like yells at Harry.
Yeah,
and you're like, "What? Dumbledore would never freak out at Harry like that ever."
He's so collected.
Yeah, he's calm. There you go. Yeah.
So for him to just like have this all out freak out, it was weird. But he's kind
also
of is like that continuing. I feel like he definitely puts more aggression into Dumbledore's character.
Yeah, and the guy who played him, I can't remember his name off the top of my head. He refused to read the books before he did the character because he wanted to just like make it his own, and I thought that was a little selfish. I think he does better as time goes on, but he's aggressive too. He's like, quiet! And in the books, Dumbledore's just not like that. He's not like that at all. He's very soft-spoken, well-tempered, and he I don't know.
Dylan said, but is that the actor or the director's choice?
From what I understand, it was kind of an actor's choice. He kind of wanted to. He got a lot of heat for it. But I'm sure there was some directors. I mean, the directors picked those cuts too. But from what I understand, from what I've read up on some of the forums about it, that even the students, Emma Watson's character was kind of upset at it while filming. Was kind of like, he needs to read the books. This is not how Dumbledore acts, because she was very particular.
So everybody read the books beforehand, though.
Oh yeah, well, I mean, up to the point that they were released, because when the first movie started coming out, not all the books were released. Fun fact: J.K. Rowling actually would give information to the directors without spoiling it, to be like, hey, you need to, Snape was obviously an iconic actor, but she had to kind of be like, hey, here's kind of what happens to Snape, don't tell anyone, so that they could play that character development in the earlier books to kind of give it a light to show later. Mm-hmm. So there's a couple of people that were sworn to secrecy. I'm going to talk way too much on this episode. I know I already talked too much on the podcast, but this is my bread and butter.
I can't say I have tons to be able to say because I'm not as nerded out on this. I love the movies, but I haven't looked into them enough to be like, I know things.
Yeah, this is really just a Matt episode.
Yeah.
It's like what I've been when we first picked when we first decided that we were going to do this podcast, we picked a bunch of topics, and that was like one of my top picks right away. I'm like, oh, we're doing Harry Potter.
Yeah, for sure. So. And real quick, Ewan to Mike said Harry Potter Hogwarts, based on secondary school, high school, late 70s and early 80s. My school was Stuart House, Hanover House, Tudor, Windsor, and York, all periods of the monarchy. Sorry, useless trivia. J.K. Rowling's probably the same age as me. She brilliantly became a millionaire from her school experience.
I think it's a little bit more than that, but that is so cool. That like the school system in place in the books and the movies is very similar to the school system in England, which is where J.K. Rowling's from, which makes sense. And that's pretty cool that our dad kind of had. I remember Dad talking about that when these movies came out when we were kids, being like, "Oh yeah, it's like that. Like you had you were sorted, you were kind of in your different houses.
They put a real live hat on your head.
They put yeah,
and it tells you which place you're going."
Yeah. So very cool, Dad. You should take the test and sort your. We want to know what's Dylan's. Ask Dylan what. Well, Dylan, what's your house?
Dylan, tell us what your house is, and Dad, tell us what your house is.
Go.
Pottermore.com.
Yeah. So okay, let's talk about your favorites and why.
Is this like a like a weed website?
That's Pothead
Potter.
More.
Oh, Pothead More. Oh, okay. Cool.
That's
man.
where the term Potterhead comes from. I think I catch people off guard sometimes when I'm like, I'm a huge Potterhead. Like I said that at work today when they were asking like, what's the episode tonight? Some of the bosses. I was like, what's that? And I was like, oh, I'm a huge Potterhead. So and they kind of looked at me like, what? It's like Harry Potter. We're doing Harry Potter. So
that's awesome.
Anyway, top 3
Mine
movies.
was Stewart House.
No, that was his. Stewart House was his house.
When
in
he was
the
in
UK.
Okay.
So we were wondering, Dad, what do you think your Harry Potter house would be?
Yeah, go on Pottermore.com and do the test so you can tell us what yours is, or what you think it would be too, I guess, huh? Yeah.
You don't have to do it if you don't want to.
Yeah, you don't have to, but tell us what house you think you would be in the Potterhead world.
In the Potter universe. All right, I'm going to ask the question one more time, Jordan.
Sorry, dude.
What are your top 3 movies?
So anyways, I was just thinking, my top 3 is Prisoner of Azkaban.
You got it written down?
Yeah.
That's my phone. No, it's not.
No, it's not.
Sorry.
Why are you sitting on my phone?
My bad. Play with this first.
Yeah, go for it. I was hoping I could find the broom so I could fly to
again?
wherever, but I couldn't find it again.
These are like inverted.
I like Prisoner of Azkaban because I had a lot of action. I also liked the characters, like I really liked the teacher that ended up being the Grimm. What's his name?
The teacher that ended up being the Grimm?
Yeah. Like the werewolf thing?
Professor Moody.
That's a Grimm, isn't it?
I mean, that's not Professor Moody. Yeah, that is Professor Moody. No, that's Mad-Eye Moody. Professor Lupin. Sorry. Yeah. The Grimm is actually the Death Omen. So when Professor Trelawney shows Harry Potter... See, I am a nerd, dude. Like,
I know. That's why I'm letting you do your thing.
So Professor Trelawney is the professor over... oh, my gosh, now my mind's blanking. Oh, man. Basically the equivalent of... what a girl, astrology or whatever, but astronomy. That's what she's in. So she's the astronomy professor, and she predicts futures and has predictions and stuff, right? And she shows one of the ways to receive a prediction is through this like little like mix of spices or whatever, and it shows that Harry Potter has the Grimm. And the Grimm is one of the omens, and it's the worst omen you can get. It means certainty of death. So they kind of transition where it looks like a werewolf in the movie, which is cool. And Professor Lupin is a werewolf in real life. And Lupin is an awesome character.
Yeah, he's awesome. I thought Ron yelled
Transfiguration.
Grimm.
No, that's not. What?
What did he yell then when he saw the wolf behind Harry? Remember, I swear he yelled Grimm or something.
He might yell Grimm. I'd be surprised if he did, but he might. I mean, it takes the shape of a dog, right? And the thing that I think they're going for is not the werewolf, but the fact that Padfoot, who is the character, did you just die?
Yeah, I don't know how to pull out the
Your
broom.
journey has ended. Padfoot, who is the, oh my gosh, now my mind's blanking on his actual name. He's Harry Potter's dad's best friend, but he takes on the form of a
Mark?
dog. They all, no, not Mark.
Great. Harry Potter's godfather?
Yeah, Harry Potter's godfather. Sirius Black.
Sirius
Sorry.
Black.
Sirius Black is he looks like the Grim. So he does. You're right. Ron does go the Grim, all high pitched.
Yeah.
But it's not Professor Lupin as the werewolf. He sees Sirius Black as like the dog. I think.
Oh, okay.
I think that was one of the ones I didn't watch this week. I should have. I did watch it a few weeks ago for Halloween, but
I think you're right, because he jumps past Harry Potter and grabs Ron's foot to get
and pulls
the
him
wrap.
in. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I wanted to bring up when after they figured out everything and they're inside the tree and so on and so forth, they come out and Ron's like, they're going to have to chop it off. Like Hermione's like, are you doing okay, Ron? Because his foot's been bitten, right? And he's like, yeah, it really hurts, but they're probably just going to have to chop it off. Or whatever.
He says that?
Yeah, or like says something like that. And then she's like, no, they'll have you fixed up right away. And he's like, no, it's just going to have to be
Ron's character, I think, is brilliant. He's they do a little bit of a disservice to him in the movies. Hermione gets all of the clever lines and all the knowledge, and she is the most clever and she has the most knowledge in the books. But Ron also knows a lot about the wizarding world because Hermione doesn't come from wizarding family. She's a mudblood, right? But she comes from non-wizarding parents. And so she just knows about the wizarding world based on what she's learned from reading. But Ron has been in the wizarding world his whole life. He's a pureblood. So he's been in the wizarding world his whole life. All his parents, grandparents. So he knows a lot. So in the books, he talks, he gives a lot of the knowledge, and Hermione gets those lines in the movies. That being said, Ron is way more funny in the movies than he is in the books. His character, he brought a life to it. The actor who plays it, I wish my brain would work with my thoughts, but the actor who plays Ron is so good. And in the Chamber of Secrets, he's hilarious with the spiders, and he's like, "My wand, Harry, look at my wand!" when he breaks the wand in the car, and he's just really funny. Why does it always have to be spiders? Why couldn't it be follow the butterflies?
Yeah.
Like, he has some really funny lines, and his facial expressions are really good. I actually think he's the best actor in the movies anyways. I don't know about now, but in the movies of the three of Harry Potter, Hermione, and Ron, I think Ron's the best actor. I think he does the best job. He doesn't look like he's faking, where Hermione and Harry have a couple of moments where you're like, these are kids trying to act. I don't feel like you have that with Ron. I feel like he's always in character.
Yeah, I think so too.
So,
yeah.
Well, cool. That's one of your favorite. What else?
I think they all get better as time goes on. Like the
Yeah, they
beginning,
all
they're
get way
kids
better.
and they're.
But you forgive it because they're young and cute. So
Yep.
you're like, they're bad,
Yeah,
but
you're
they're so
just
young
fine
and
with
little
it.
cute kids that it's fine that they're not great.
Yeah, for sure. And then, so real quick, Dad said it looks like he's Hufflepuff.
Hufflepuff.
Hufflepuff. Loyal and not afraid of toil.
Loyal, no toil.
And then the ginger gets the girl. And Dad said Rupert Grint. Is that who the picture one is? The one that gets petrified or whatever? Or is that Ron's name, Rupert?
Oh
Grint?
Rupert.
that his
That's the actor. Thank you, Dad. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
the actor.
All right. Yeah, I didn't know that.
Hufflepuff, cool.
He said Rom, but he said ROM.
Rom.
Yeah. So, and then my second is Goblet of Fire.
Great one.
And I like the games. I think it's a cool, really actiony one as well. And I think Professor Crazy Eye, I can't remember his name.
Mad Eye Moody.
Mm-hmm. Crazy Eye guy.
Not a bad name.
He's I think he's awesome. Great character.
He is great. He reminds me of Papa Bill.
Yeah.
Our grandpa passed away years ago, but he kind of reminds me of him a little bit.
I could see that. He's
kind of intimidating, but also you love him.
Yeah. I like when he turns Malfoy into the rat thing. The what are those things called? The feral. What are those things called? Remember when he turns Malfoy into
like a possum
thing or something?
I think those are called ferrets.
Thanks.
Yeah, sorry.
I was like feral
ferret.
Yeah, ferret. He's sitting there like messing with him. The teacher's like, "You can't do that to kids."
Did you transfer your? Is that a student? Might be. Yeah, he's good.
And then he ends up. What sucks though is he ends up not being him.
Yeah.
But he is like that anyways, right?
Yes.
So
in the later movies,
they do
like
good.
that.
I was kind of worried about that because I'm like, oh man, like he's not gonna be him continuing. And I liked how he was because he was somebody else in his body, right?
Right.
And so when the next movie came out and he was still there, The Order of the Phoenix, and he was still in it, I was like, oh, cool. That's how he was.
Yeah, Barty Crouch Jr. is technically him in Goblet of Fire, but he does a really good job of acting him in that one because he stays in character after the actual Mad Eye Moody gets out. So, yes, indeed.
And then third would have to be...
third or first?
My first.
Your number one, right?
No, my first was Azkaban. Sorry.
Oh,
okay. Sorry, I did it backwards. I must have...
It's okay.
Say to do it the other way.
It's fine. I just thought it was the other way.
My bad.
No, it's cool.
What's your
third?
Is the Sorcerer's Stone.
The OG.
And it had to be in the top 3, even though I really like a lot of them because they're more action-y. But the whole learning and like getting to see the Hogwarts and
the beauty
and
of
them
that
experiencing like the beginning of it makes you as a kid want to be a wizard so freaking bad. You're like, that is so dope. And then they're like doing like little tiny spells just to get you roped, like when they make the feather float, and that was in the first, right?
Yeah. Yep.
And, just the little things. And plus, I also think I've always
been... It's not Leviosa.
It's Leviosa. I like Hagrid a lot. He's introduced in that one. And
yeah, Hagrid's awesome. Do you know, fun fact, Robin Williams wanted to play Hagrid and reached out to J.K. Rowling and the producers to play Hagrid, and they turned him down because they wanted an all-British cast. But I kind of feel like Robin, obviously...
He can do any accent.
Yeah, but it was more just like, I think J.K. Rowling, that was one of her things, is she wanted it to be authentic to England. But Robin Williams, I think that could have been a really cool choice, actually.
For sure. I mean, I love Robin Williams. He's an amazing actor.
Good picks, man. Actually, for my top 3, they would...
Start from third.
Okay, start from third.
And then go to your first. My bad, I didn't do that.
Okay, so... Okay, I'm going to also talk books, too. Is that cool? I want to talk my least favorite book and my 3 favorites. Is that okay?
Yeah.
So my least favorite book is Order of the Phoenix. It's the biggest book, and it has a lot of fluff to it. I mean, I almost feel like J.K. Rowling was just trying to show, because Goblet of Fire came out and everybody's like, whoa, that book's huge. And then Order of Phoenix came out, it was massive. And I think people were like, I don't know, maybe this is just me being a little bit over the top, but it just felt like she was like, look, I've got to write so much. And there's just a little bit too much fluff in that book. Love it. Still great. Read all the books. Read that book 3 times. The reason why I point that out is I think number 3 would be Order of the Phoenix. So ironically, my least favorite book is one of my favorite movies. And I think the score is really good in Order of the Phoenix. It's right after Goblet of Fire. I think they still kind of have the magic involved. That is when you have Professor Umbridge, who's just the weird, annoying pink lady that
She drives me nuts.
yeah, she's awful, but she's a great actress.
She's kind of there to drive you nuts. So
yeah, she does a really good job.
Great, yeah.
But I just love that one. I really like Dumbledore's army. I think they're starting to get in the depth of the plot of Voldemort. That's when you start to see like Voldemort as a character. They're talking about him a lot more. He's there. He's back. He's a person. And low key, I think that score is one of the best ones of all the movies. The music in that one is phenomenal. It's a little underlooked, I think, as a movie in general. I think a lot of people don't think about Order of Phoenix, but you go back and watch it again, and it's really good. So I like that one a lot.
This place is huge. Look at the size of this map. Holy crap.
Yeah, dude.
Dude, that's wild. For people on the podcast, this Hogwarts game is huge. So, yeah, we won't get into that, but
cool. My number 2 pick, this one's hard for it's really hard for me to pick these, honestly. And if I really had to sit down and really do my like 1 through 8, I don't know what they'd exactly be. So a lot of these are kind of like, okay, I think I'll pick this one for now. But if I really had to pin them down, I'm not sure what I pick. But number 2 is going to be Deathly Hallows Part 2 for me. I think it is absolutely brilliant. I think you get the climax of killing Lord Voldemort. You have this epic battle at Hogwarts. I just think it's really, really good. I think that's the peak of the acting too. They really develop the characters well at that point. It's creepy and cool, and it's basically they do the epic war at the end. They do it justice, and I think it's really beautiful, and it's a great way to end the movie. And then my number 1 movie is Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, the original. For similar reasons to what you said, Jordan. It's the world. It's the magic. It's the first time you see the wizarding world. And it's kind of family centered. It's really lighthearted, but it's so beautiful. One of my biggest, I actually watched all the movies before I read the books. And one of my biggest issues with the books, not that there are many, but when I first read the first Harry Potter, I was like, 28 years old when I read the Harry Potter books. And I was like, oh, it's not as magical as I thought it would be. It was just kind of the plot. Now it gets in a better plot as the book goes along, but the movie was so magical to me that I loved it. And a fun little story, kind of a sad one, I guess. Jordan and I lived in a city on the east side of town, and at the end of the 7th grade year, is the last quarter of school, we moved out to a city on the southwest side of Utah, and in the Salt Lake County area, to Riverton. And we moved there, and I don't know if you remember this, Jordan, we moved there right at the end of the school year, and you weren't in middle school yet, but I didn't have time to make friends, because it was like the end of school and there's like 2 or 3 months left before school got out. So that entire summer, Jordan and I hung out a lot. And we jumped on the tramp a lot. We skateboarding a lot, whatever. We messed around. But I remember kind of feeling pretty sad through that time that we like didn't have friends or anything. And you kind of had a buddy that I didn't have in the neighborhood. There weren't a lot of kids my age. There were a few yours. And I don't know if you remember this, but I used to get up every morning and I'd watch that Harry Potter movie every day that summer. I watched Harry Potter and
you
the
did
Sorcerer's
watch it a
Stone
lot.
every day that summer because it just kind of like took me out of the world that I was in. I was a little in a funk, and I left my friends in the old city, and so that movie is near and dear to my heart. I love that movie. I can still watch that movie whenever it is on. It gives me the feel goods every time. I think it would definitely be a top 5 movie for me of all time, just because it's so personally connected to my childhood, and I love it. So that's my number 1. So to do my top 3 books, number 3 in the top 3 books is Deathly Hollow, the last book. Love that book. It's fantastic. Number 2, I'm gonna say Goblet of Fire. It's when the book really starts to get into like an older reading group, like it really gets into the ins and outs of the world, and the plot really starts to fill out. It becomes more than just like a young youth book. It starts to get into an older book that has some depth to it. And my favorite book is actually wasn't one of my favorite movies, but was Half-Blood Prince. Such a good book. You really get to understand the backstory of Voldemort, which they don't go into in the movies very much. They do it a little bit in Half-Blood Prince. You get to go more in depth into Snape's background. And
Which I gotta say, Snape is a great character.
Fantastic.
All the way through. All the movies, I feel like he's awesome.
Oh, he nailed it.
Really, at the beginning, you think he's evil the whole time.
Yeah.
Like, he does such a good job of playing like this just stern person, and he's good.
Yeah.
He's there
Kind
for,
of.
like, I mean, he's definitely got his like weird quirks that like
being obsessed with Harry Potter's mom, like
yeah,
a little too much.
Yeah.
But he has the same Patronus as Lily. So Lily has a doe. So, Harry Potter's Patronus is the same as his father, which is a stag. And Severus Snape's Patronus is Lily's Patronus, Harry Potter's mother. So he really loved her. But you go into that character more. You get more depth on Snape. You get more depth on Voldemort. And it's really cool in the books. I really, really enjoyed that book. So... I think that's my favorite book. Anyway, yeah. What else did you want to talk about, Jordan?
I want to test your knowledge on the spells. What spells do you know, and what do they do? I actually don't know enough. I just want you to explain some.
I would say I'm pretty weak. This is probably one of my weaker areas that I know, but there's some of the main ones are Expelliarmus. Do you want to guess what that one is?
Expelliarmus. Is that the light one?
No, that's Lumos.
Oh.
Expelliarmus is to knock the wand to disarm.
That's right, to disarm a
person.
I did know that. Sorry.
Lumos is to light things up. Oculus Reparo is to repair things.
Yeah.
Let me try and think of some other ones. I know the one to unlock doors. My mind's blanking right now.
Wingardium Leviosa.
Wingardium Leviosa is to levitate things. Expecto Patronus is
an attack spell.
An attack. Well, it's actually it's an attack spell.
Or a defense spell, I guess. Right?
Yeah.
Oh, is this Hagrid's?
Oh yeah. Looks like you're at Hagrid's hut.
That's cool.
Let me think of some other ones. I'm trying to.
Is it Abracadabra?
It's Avada Kedavra.
Because everybody
Avada Kedavra. And
Abracadabra is
Abracadabra is to pull a rabbit out of your hat.
Is that really?
No, it's just like Abracadabra.
Because like
Avada Kedavra is the kill curse.
It's funny how close those sound because like your whole life you grew up
Crucio.
as a kid that you're like,
Yeah.
abracadabra is just what you say to do spells and
I think
stuff.
she was kind of playing on that a bit with the Avada Kedavra.
Because that one's the one that kills people.
Yeah, it's a
I love
kill
that.
curse. And then Crucio is the torture curse. Yeah, I don't know. Those are Reducto is a defense curse. Yeah, I feel like that's pretty good. I don't know. I can't name all of them off the top of my head, but those are some of the ones I know.
Dad said, or you and Mike said, the teachers we hated the most in secondary school were the ones that had our backs and we respected most when we were seniors. And he goes like Snape scenario.
Right.
Yeah.
Harry Potter does end up naming his child after Severus and Dumbledore.
What?
Yeah. It's not a secret. It's at the end of the last movie, but
I didn't get through the last movie.
ever?
No, just
Oh.
I forgot about it, and I didn't just barely.
So, kind of crazy thing about Professor Snape is Professor Snape was a guy. J.K. Rowling mirrored the character off of a guy named John Nettleship, who was a professor, a chemistry teacher in
At
her
Hogwarts.
in her high school. But this is a picture of him.
Oh yeah, he
looks just
quite
like-
similar.
He looks just like Professor Snape. Here's a couple other on the bottom.
Snape,
Yeah.
Snape,
Severus.
Severus Snape,
Ron Weasley.
Dumbledore.
Have you seen that video? It's a short TikTok where the guy picks up different sticks and pretending they're wands, and he starts off with like a little teeny stick, and he's like, and then it gets a little bigger. He's like, and then he picks up like a huge log.
Yes.
Just,
Yes, my kids love that. They think it's the freaking funniest thing. They always quote it now.
Yeah.
Another good one is that have you seen that girl that like, I'm going to dress up as all the Harry Potter characters to wake my husband up.
Yes, that
And
was
she's
pretty
just
funny.
like, Ron, wake up. You need to see this. And he's like,
I've made you a
go
sweater.
away.
You're not Ron Weasley.
He comes
done
in
that
as
with,
Dobby and
She's done that with the Lord of the Rings characters too.
Yep.
She has another one.
Yeah.
Another one that's pretty funny is there's a girl that's on TikTok that talks about, she's like, why is it when all girls put their hair back, they look all pretty-o, and I look like Draco Malfoy? She was, have you seen that one?
no.
And she's like, hello, Potter. It's really funny.
Have you seen the one oh man, no way, it just escaped me.
Is it the cartoon one where they're like,
Oh,
it's Leviosa?
yeah.
It's like, oh,
I have seen that one too. No, the one where people are at a party and it's like a spoof on people going, hey, so my friend thinks you're cute. And then it's like they point at them, and some of them are like the jokes where they run over there and they stand next to.
Oh, right.
And they're like, you know, that obviously gets them right.
Right.
Well, this one is like a costume party, and he's like, hey, my friend thinks you're cute and I wanted to introduce you. And they turn and look and like people move, and it's somebody like Harry Pottered out as Voldemort with no
the
nose. You can't even tell it's like a girl.
Yeah. There's
It's like-
one girl on TikTok, speaking of that, there's one girl on TikTok that she's dressed up as Voldemort, and she's like, this is the first Halloween at my work. And she's like, and I just found out they don't dress up for Halloween, and I dressed up like this. It shows her- And she's Voldemort. She's got a bald cap on. Her nose has got just like pale white.
And she's at work.
And she's like, and I can't call out because it's like, it was my first day. She's like, I had to show up and walk around. Only person in the office. And she's dressed as Voldemort.
I love that.
Super funny. So there's a couple things I want to mention. One is how silly, if you try to make this world a reality, how silly Goblet of Fire seems for two reasons. One, the fact that Harry Potter it was like if Harry Potter was in real life, where Harry Potter's like, he's like, Harry Potter, did you put your name in the Goblet of Fire? He said, no. He's like, oh, well, that's weird. Well, we'll just take that out because that's a challenge that could kill you, and this is a school. So
and
we'll
you're 14.
And you're 14 years old. So we'll just ignore that. The other thing is you actually think this is a big plot hole. So if you don't want to hear a plot hole of that movie or that book, cover your ears. The whole point of that movie is for Professor Moody is trying to get Harry Potter back to Voldemort, right? So that Voldemort could kill him, so he can bring him back to life. And part of the requirement of the spell is that he has the blood drawn of Harry Potter as part of the potion to have him come back to life, right? So the whole time, Professor Moody's helping Harry along in the Goblet of Fire so that he can eventually win the Triwizard Tournament, touch the Triwizard Cup, which is a port key that takes him to where Voldemort is, right?
Mm-hmm.
But he's always around Harry Potter. So he could literally just turn like a book into it and be like, hey, Harry, will you pick that book up for me? And he go. He doesn't need to go through the Goblet of Fire to be able to do that. So he doesn't.
That's
kind of a plot hole. Sorry to spoil that movie for some
so
people.
he put the spell on the goblet himself.
Yeah, Professor Moody did. Well, technically, what's his bucket? Barty Crouch Jr., who is a servant. He's a Death Eater of Voldemort. He turns the Triwizard Cup that they reach for at the end on the last task into a port key to send him to Voldemort, and he's helping him to win. And Harry Potter thinks he's Professor Moody, Mad-Eye Moody, just helping him through those things. So the plot hole is he can turn anything into a port key. He didn't need to have him enter the Triwizard Tournament. He could have just been like, okay, are we ready? Yeah, okay, I've become close with Harry Potter, and I'm a professor. I can be like, can you get me that cup over there, Harry? And Harry could touch it and be he could be teleported to where Voldemort is at. So a little bit of a plot hole. Spoilers, but
Why'd you do that?
sorry. That's like your favorite one, wasn't it?
Yeah.
One of them. Second favorite.
I guess, I mean, it makes sense, but it's also, I don't know,
I still love the movie. You can
I guess
kind of ignore it.
you
but-
don't- do you learn that I mean, do you catch that just watching the movie though? Because like it's like that's maybe he needed like Voldemort and his.
No, Wormtail got everything else.
Yeah, I mean,
So
I guess
no.
that's kind of
That was his whole point, was to get. That's why he went undercover as Professor Moody, was to gain Harry's trust and to get him back to Voldemort to produce the spell that brought Voldemort back to life, and then Voldemort would kill Harry.
All right.
Any other questions about Harry Potter before we close for the night?
You got me, man. I mean, that one just stumped me.
Well, I guess it wasn't. Sorry,
But
it's not
I mean, it
really-
makes sense, but it's also like, I guess when you watch the movie, you don't like think through it that way, though. You're like,
Yeah.
nah, he had to. Dang it, man. That really is.
It does kind of
weird.
ruin
It's
that
like-
movie. Huh? Sorry, I didn't mean to ruin it for you, but it's
No,
still an
it's
awesome
still a
movie.
great
I love it.
watch.
It's a really great movie. But yeah.
Dad said the chat is using the cloak of invisibility tonight. It's only him,
Oh,
or like it's only him commenting right now.
yeah. Well, thanks, Dad. You're our number one
Yeah.
supporter. I wanted to quiz you on some Harry Potter stuff.
Oh man, here we go.
This
This is gonna be the
do you
NFL
know what-
episode all over again.
No. Do you know what a squib is?
Nope.
All right. Next question. Do you want
It's
to take any
like
guesses?
It's a little creature in the ocean that swims around.
Nope. That's a squid.
Oh.
Squib. You know what it refers to in the Harry Potter world?
Can I get 50-50?
It's not multiple choice, but I can give you two.
Give me two choices to pick
choices. Okay, a squib is either a person who is born of Muggle parents who now has wizarding abilities, or it is a person born of wizarding parents who has no magical abilities.
That one.
Yeah, that's correct.
Because the other one's a mudblood, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a foul way of saying.
What's the regular way of saying it?
You just wouldn't say. It's not really necessarily a term. It's just non-magic. Well, I don't know. I don't know if there's a nice way of saying it, but okay, can you name any characters who are squibs in the movie? There are 2 that appear in the movies that were born in the magic with wizarding parents who don't have any magical abilities. They're kind of considered outcasts in the wizarding community.
The keeper. With the cat.
Yeah, good job,
Thanks.
dude.
What's his name though? I can't think of it.
Now that you said the keeper with the cat, I'm gonna fail.
It's like something door or no, like come. I can't remember. Where's Moaning Myrtle? She should be in this bathroom. Moaning Myrtle.
Filch. Sorry.
Yeah, Filch.
Yeah. So Filch, and then the other one is actually the neighbor. I can't remember her name. Harry Potter's neighbor. She shows up in Order of the Phoenix.
The one that helps her. No, that one helped him, so.
Yeah, she helps him when he's put on trial for using the Patronus curse, using magic outside of school.
She used magic, but no, she just showed up after he used magic on the Dementors. Dementors.
And she's like, "Don't put away your wand, Harry. You might need it." Because she's a squib, so she knows about the wizarding world. But she's actually in all the books. Well, a couple of the books. Harry goes over there a lot when Dudley goes to places with the family.
Was she his neighbor just strictly sat there to protect Harry?
Yeah, Dumbledore wanted her to keep an eye on him
his whole
the
life
series. Yeah, so that's a squib.
That's cool.
Go ahead.
I wonder if I would have guessed that. It would have taken me a minute, but
any other things before we close out and talk about next week's episode
that
you want to talk about or have questions on?
No, I can't think of any right now. I thought it was kind of cool in 6 that Malfoy actually kind of grew a pair a little bit.
Yeah,
he was kind of forced to be like part of the
he was a Death
part
Eater.
of Lord Voldemort's.
Yeah, he took an oath to be a Death Eater.
Yeah, and he kind of grows a backbone and not like he acts tough in all the other movies, and then as soon as it comes to, he's like the biggest wuss. You know. And then he's actually kind of pretty cool in that one. You know?
Yeah, he's bad, but yeah, he at least
he's bad, but he's
except
like
he doesn't carry out the task. He has a little bit of good in him, right? He
can't
kill Dumbledore,
but he just is tougher. You know, like I feel like even he doesn't carry out the task. Kind of shows that he's like, you know, he's good and kind of tough. That he's not. He's like standing against it a little bit.
Yeah,
you know what I mean, so
or he's a coward. He's a Slytherin. But yeah, no, I get what you're saying. There's one thing that I wish the movies would have done that the books did a good job in. There's 2 things before we close. One is one of my favorite characters. Well, let's talk favorite characters. Do you have a favorite character? Your favorite character?
I think we kind of talked.
You kind of mentioned that Lupin was one of your favorites, and Hagrid. Ron's definitely one of mine in the movies. I think he's my favorite in the movie.
The stairs actually developed. Did you see that?
Yeah, that's cool.
That was way cool. Yeah, Ron, Hagrid,
Luna. Talked about
Luna's great, and
Luna's a
Is
Ravenclaw.
is the one who gets killed during the Goblet of Fire? Is that Edward?
Cedric Diggory is Edward that's Robert Pattinson.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's also Batman.
Batman.
Two things that I wanted to bring up. One was one thing that I don't think the movie there's a deleted scene with it that I wish they would have kept in. So Dudley and Harry have like a just a hate relationship. But Dudley on the last movie when he tells them, Harry Potter's like, you have to go, like Voldemort's going to kill you. Dudley, there's a sweet scene, you can look it up on YouTube, but Dudley's kind of like, isn't Harry coming? And he's like, no, he doesn't want to come. The dad is, Vernon says that. And then Harry's like, yeah, I don't want to come. I'm just a waste of space anyways, is what he says. And then Dudley has kind of come to this realization that Harry Potter's a big deal in the wizarding world, and he's been really mean to Harry Potter his whole life, and Harry Potter's always kind of protected him in certain situations, like with the Dementor. And he kind of walks up to him, and he's like, he kind of puts out his hand to shake his hand, and he's like, I don't think you're a waste of space. And they kind of have this moment, and they have that in the book too. And you learn in Pottermore, in the nerd culture, that they later go on to not be like super close, but they like get together once or twice a year as families, and they like their kids know each other and stuff. They still kind of have a relationship. So I kind of like that. I wish that would have been in there. And the other one is one of my favorite characters in the book who, for the most part, I think the movie does a phenomenal job of the characters they picked, the actors that they picked to play the characters. I think most of them do a fantastic job. But the one that really struggled with is, and he has a little bit more of a role in the books, and he's really funny in the books, but he's not really a big part of the movies, is Lee Jordan. And Lee Jordan is the Weasley twins' best friend. And he is featured as the announcer in the first one in the Sorcerer's Stone. But
for the Quidditch game?
Yeah, that's Lee Jordan in the movies. You don't see him much other than that. But in the books, he's so funny as the commentator. He's so funny. He's one of the coolest characters. And he's best friends with the Weasley twins. And the Weasley twins are super funny in the books, too, and just into mischief and all that. And, yeah, so those are the two things that I feel like they struggled with. Well, they should have done. They should have given that a little bit more thoughts. But for the most part, love them all. Love all the movies. Love all the books. They're fantastic. As you can tell, I've talked my head off. Thank you, those that listened. And let me have my nerd episode. And for Jordan, for letting me have my nerd episode and dominate this podcast. I love Harry Potter.
It's good. It's such a good watch. I mean, all of them, like you said, all of them are good. I kind of agree. I think the part 1 of the 7th movie is definitely slower.
Yeah, still good. Still great.
Still a great watch because it's informative, I think.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, I can't wait to go to Universal Studios and see Harry Potter Land in Florida.
Yeah, my wife and I were gonna do it. My wife's a pretty big Potterhead too. She's read all the books. During COVID, we had plans to go there. We booked tickets. We were gonna go to Disney World for a week, and then we were gonna spend time in Harry Potter. We were just going to Universal just for the Harry Potter world, and we, because of COVID, weren't able to do it. We haven't been able to rebook that trip. So I really want to do that. As you can tell, I'm a huge nerd. So thanks everybody. Thanks,
and then,
Jordan.
Real quick, Mike says Neville Longbottom was one of my favorite characters. Very relatable to kids I knew back in my school days.
You know what? Neville Longbottom, first of all, is a straight up baller. And there's some fan theories about him, about why he struggled at the start, that he had a hand-me-down wand. And later that once he had his wand, he was able to be a better wizard. And he actually goes on, if you learn the nerd aspects of it, he actually ends up being a professor and teaches herbology at Hogwarts, which he's really good in. But in the books, Neville Longbottom plays a pretty significant role that they don't really touch on in the movies.
I fell in the brooms, I think.
Oh, good.
Sorry. No.
Right as we're about to close.
Yeah.
But Neville Longbottom has a big role in a lot of it. And in Order of the Phoenix, they talk a lot about his parents, how they were tortured, and they were in a mental hospital, and Harry Potter goes and visits his parents with Neville, and you really get into that character a lot. And
That's cool.
He's a really cool character in the book. And
I mean, I think he's
really
a cool
like him.
character. In
He
the
is
movie
too. He's a great actor too. I like him. Yeah. His name's Matthew, so you can't go wrong with that. He's quite handsome now. He had a glow.
Oh yeah, he grew, and he was like the nerdiest of nerds in the movie, like.
Which is what he was in the books, right? Now he's like
Yeah.
Mr.
And then he like
Handsome.
the 6th and 7th movies. He's like
They were kind of trying to keep him ugly.
ugly.
Have you seen some of like if you're ever bored, just Google Harry Potter actors glow ups, and they show all the like different actors, and they all like way more gorgeous as they got older. But well, cool. So next week we have another guest on. Unless you had anything else you wanted to bring up about Harry Potter.
That's
Jordan?
it, man. I can't think of anything right now, but yeah, that was a cool episode. It was you have a lot to say about it, which is cool.
Well, thanks for letting me be nerdy. Thanks for letting me do this episode. I could talk Harry Potter all day. I'm obsessed with it, and I know there's a stand-up comedian who jokes about it. I saw online. He's like, what is the deal with millennials' obsession with Harry Potter? Like, oh, I'm a Gryffindor, I'm a Hufflepuff. He's like, no, you're an adult, Sarah. I thought that's so funny and so relatable. Yeah. Anyway, I thought it was really funny, dude.
That's awesome.
So thank you for letting me do this episode. I'll always watch Harry Potter, read it a lot, and I appreciate you all for letting me talk way too much. So thanks, Jordan. Next week, we have a really fun episode. We have Sophie White coming on. She is an awesome chick who knows a lot about Pixar movies. And we are going to be ranking, and we're going to be doing our top 10s, maybe top 5s with the three of us. We're not going to draft this time. The top 10 Pixar movies of all time. So everything Pixar, we'll put a poll up this week. I imagine this one will get a fair amount of votes because people tend to love Pixar. So we're gonna do the top 10 Pixar movies, so you don't have to worry about it anymore. By next week's episode, you'll know what's the best Pixar movie. So.
That will be a good episode. Pixar's have some awesome movies.
Yeah, and following that, we will be doing our favorite. We're kind of going on themes right now. We've been doing franchises, and we're doing another movie one. We're going to be doing our favorite Christmas movies. We're gonna rank we'll probably draft that one.
Oh yeah,
doing our favorite Christmas movies. And thank you, everybody. Have a happy Thanksgiving for those of you that are celebrating Thanksgiving here in the States. Hope you have a great time. And thank you for everybody that's listened to us and listened to me ramble this episode.
Sorry I sucked at this game.
At least it looked like Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Right?
It definitely looks like Harry Potter. Like, this is insane how... I can't.
Yeah,
you're
in the Quidditch. You're at the arena for Quidditch.
It has
right
like
now.
this part. You wouldn't think that they'd add that part. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, why? But that's awesome that they do.
The section where Harry Potter like falls down on the ends. So it's there.
Yeah.
For the
but yeah, that was a fun episode. And
yeah. Anything else, George? You want to add?
That's it. Mike says, "Nice job, boys. Thanks."
Thanks. All right, everybody. We'll see you next week for Pixar movies.
Actually, yeah. Again, if you listen to this, you should throw onto our Facebook page, Super Davis Bros, what your house is if you end up getting on Pottermore.com, because I think that'd be really cool to see some comments on that. All right. Well, yeah. You all have a wonderful day, and And happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving. See you guys.